it's Ariel Anderson, and I have got a little different setup today because I packed all my recording gear. Anyway, it's great to be here, and I'm excited. I'm always excited to be here with you in this circle. And whether you're here for the first time, welcome. Uh, Definitely subscribe and come back again. Keep an eye out for those lives. If you're returning, then thank you back into this beautiful circle of people, women, ready to create in this different prime of life moment. And I'm thinking a lot today about the dips that come. And I purposely didn't put a theme, a topic this week because I felt like something was coming. Now, wherever you are in the world right now, there is definitely this feeling. There's a tension. It's that tension that we talked about if you were at either of the retreats last week, the first weeks in January 2022. And there's this tension that comes just before something's about to happen. And inside that tension, a lot of stuff comes up, I find. Yeah, I'm hoping I put the wrong ear on here. I find that what happens is the doubt, the limiting beliefs, the should I really be doing this? Or, whatever it is that bubbles up at times or all the time, whatever it is that's the majority or the minority inside of you, it comes up during this time. Why is that? Well, I, it's just how it works. Now, for years, uh, I was Ariel Green Anderson conscious business coach. And I always noticed that just before there was the movement, so that was interesting timing, the light going on, there would be this tension, this sort of no. And I notice it in myself, not just you or my clients. It's this, when we talked about the white buffalo and going through that storm, you're in that storm, and it's just at that moment. It's just at that moment before you get through. Or if you're looking for a partner, just that moment before when you're just like, "Oh, I need that partner. I want this," and there's that feeling, and then there's just before you just relax and flow into it, like that very moment of release. When you get to it, is where the good stuff just rolls in. It's just like whew, floods in, but it's that letting go of the control, allowing whatever is coming up, whether it's yay, this is great, or ugh, I'm just stuck. And this happens in business, this happens in relationship and intimacy, right? We know about that. And intimacy with yourself, your body, and getting pregnant. And so I'm thinking about this because those failures that come along, it's so easy to get stuck in that moment. I guess I'm thinking about this too because I found this on my daughter's desk back there, and I remembered yesterday that what I started to think about for this call. She had this look on her face, and she just crumpled this up, and I just felt heartbroken. And I said, "What's going on there?" And she said, "Can I just see it and see what's going on?" And she showed me, and I said, "Oh, that's a unicorn." She said, "I don't like it. I don't like the way this looks. It doesn't look right." She crumpled it back up again. And why am I bringing this up? Well, because I feel like that's what happens inside of the dip when there's a moment when things don't go the way you expect. There's a fail, and it's just like this isn't how it's supposed to be. And and that energy that gets caught up in that this isn't the way it's supposed to be feeling, right? And how hard we can be on ourselves, how hard you might be being on yourself right now. And I bring this up because failure, if you're in science or research, or, when we talk to Chris and Holly Santillo on the podcast on imperfect parenting, they talk about the importance of failure for our learning. Yeah, we know. Yeah, there's learning and everything, right? But when it becomes a part of your inner philosophy that the failures, the things that don't work, recognizing that there's something there, uh, and really not just, oh, yes, there's learning in there. Like we all know it. We hear it all over, in the digital space in your regular world. People will say, ah, the next time might be better. And you just don't want to hear it anymore, maybe. Yet it's taking it to that next level of, okay, so this didn't work. Uh, do I keep going forward with this or not? I was just going to look up this quote because I took a screenshot today. I don't know if you know Seth Godin's little book. It's under 100 pages called The Dip. Very popular. It's for business. It's very entrepreneur oriented, so it may apply. Yet, there's just it applies, and because, as you know, I'm often applying things that are conscious business based because that's my base of reality. That it's so much of what we do in our work, our business, our relationships. It's so important and key also for this path of midlife fertility and midlife pregnancy. So here, this is the business piece, but whether you're an intern, I quote, or a CEO, this fun little book will help you figure out if you're in a dip that's worthy of your time, effort, and talents. The old saying is wrong. Winners do quit and quitters do win. And the whole point of that is basically that I just got a little chill. The whole point of that is that you don't always have to push through. If you're trying something, and we talked about this in the past, but if you are doing acupuncture or you're working with a particular therapist or you have been working with you're doing fertility and you're working with a particular group and something you find yourself not taking the supplements or uh, not doing whatever exercise someone's given, something I've given somebody else, or something you found on a forum if you read about, uh, it's time to reevaluate. And instead of beating yourself up about getting rid of oh, I haven't been doing those things, and being hard on yourself, which, let's face it, we all do in different moments. It's really looking at what you've decided on, and maybe it's letting go of some commitments. This is on my mind because yesterday I had a mastermind call and we were talking about, what are our words for the year, or what are the focus, the intention. And I thought of you a lot because mine were, to clear physical space, clean up things from the holidays and just kind of calm the chaos and let it be, a calmer space to be in. But it's also clearing the energy as far as space energetically, um, which is about completion and creating. So for me, the completion piece was just about what we're just talking about now, which is, what are the things that you've had on your to-do list mentally or physically that you haven't gotten to and they're pulling energy? What did somebody call it? Let me see if I can. Oh, tolerations. I think it was Monica Shaw. Monica Shaw calls them tolerations, which is interesting. It's that sort of, you're tolerating things in your space. And so I'm wondering, inside of your path, if there's something like that that's going on now. Hi, Vibrant Immunity. Hi, Angela. It's great to have you on here. Is there anything that you find that you're tolerating, things that you have maybe committed to or agreed to, while just not doing them? I'm wondering, if we're on the replay, I would love what some of those might be that you're just noticing. If you want a drink of water, some lime. And if it's not clear yet, I would love for you just to take a moment, if you have a piece of paper, or you can save it for later. You can pause this if you're on the replay and just see what comes up. When I say, what are you tolerating? What are the energy pulls right now? Those things that kind of nag at you. It's those, like, when you wake up, if you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get up to pee, or you have a bad dream, or just something wakes you and your mind starts going, and it's like, I haven't done this. And what about that? I could have done that better. Oh, why haven't I still done that? Sometimes it doesn't even make sense. I have a FedEx pickup that I I have to schedule, and I haven't. Why? Because it's a test I don't really wanna do. I know I need to. Well, I don't know if I need to, but I committed to it. So I either let it go this week or I schedule it, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm evaluating and I'm going inside to see what is that really about. It seems like a simple thing, but there's got to be more. Otherwise, the delay wouldn't happen. And I would ask you to just take a minute and just see what comes up for you, where energy is being pulled and taking up space that could be used or be available to the other things that are waiting for your energy to bring you that incredible, healthy, beautiful pregnancy that you deserve. So we'll just take a minute. Maybe as you're doing this, if there's any tension there, just take a breath just to get in the room together too. Inhaling all the energy that you need to find clarity and exhaling and letting go of and letting release anything that's being held inside in your tissues, in your psyche, in your heart, in your body. Body and tissue are the same, I guess, but and we'll pause and you can come back to this after our call or when it feels right. It's always there waiting for you, that journal, that place to write where things come through that don't always come through your mind. It's a sort of stream of consciousness, this possibility, this other self or higher self, or if you believe in angels or muses or whatnot that comes through God, whatever you believe in, the universe, comes through and gives you messages sometimes through your body. It's just so powerful and interesting, you know? So I want you to be thinking about this because that release, I talked about my words, the clear, complete, create, that clearing of space and completing things, that completion we've talked about in previous calls, how important it is to complete or release something. And you don't have to do it right away. It's not like, okay, I didn't do it today, let it go. Sometimes you just have to give it a chance. Maybe it's just about adjusting something inside your to do list or that you're doing. Maybe it's not to let go of acupuncture, it's that you need a different acupuncturist. There's something that doesn't work between you. And it may just seem like needles, but there's energy there. And I've had several acupuncturists. I've been lucky that most of them really worked for me. Maybe in community acupuncture, there were a couple that felt like they were just thinking about their laundry list or their to do list while they were working. And then that doesn't work for me. I need somebody who's really present because that's that reminder for myself to be present. And I feel that. And even if you don't recognize that you feel it, you probably often are feeling something and just honor that, you know. So, Britt, hi, Ariel, tolerating expectations. Oh, expectations. Yes. Expectations are huge. Whether, it's funny, it's one of those things when I work with people in business, especially bosses, I'm always shocked that there hasn't been a conversation about expectations with new hires or people, and it's the same thing when we take on new support system or just inside of ourselves, when you take on new things that you're going to do, like having baby for the first time or again, in this era it's new for you, for me. And expectations are so strong, and it's such a setup because expectations are often so deeply connected to attachments, attachments, which is connected to ego. It's connected to so many things that are, in the mind, that primal mind that wants to keep us safe. There's so much tangling in there. And that said, it's okay to have expectations in the way that lift you up and not the ones that tear you down, because that's where the setup is, expecting that, if you're healthy and you're doing the right things, whatever those might seem to be, that you should, I feel about that non 4 letter word should, uh, it should happen. And why isn't it? And so then there's that letdown, in yourself. And there's all the ideas of how things should be according to wherever our belief system came from, right? Wherever it's, your previous experience with having a family, because almost almost everybody that I know who I've worked with, who I know in my inner circle, the first time the getting pregnant was easy, the birth was easier. Everything is different. Every pregnancy is different. Every phase of your life is different. You may have gotten pregnant and then aborted or lost it, and then years later come back to it. And there can be a lot of, expectation there. Sometimes there's the under the surface expectations that your body is is nervous, has a reaction, or expectation of, am I going to lose again? Are we aligned? Are we not aligned again? There's an expectation there, or your mind is doing it. Your mind is saying, last time, da da da, or uh, I hired this person, I paid them this many thousands of dollars, they're supposed to get me there. But there's so much under that surface, right? It's about you and that moment and what's happening, your energy, your stress space, your workspace, your relationship to self, your inner space. I mean, I could go on for an hour. The unique reactions, right? That word, the expectations of, it's okay to expect a really present, vibrant, supportive, amazing support team. Whether that's me coming in the best way possible and being real, whether it's your herbalist or your naturopath, and they really are present and listening to you, and they feel right, and that you expect that they do their best, as long as there's humanity inside of it for yourself and for others, because we're all so imperfect. That's why I started imperfect parenting. It's like, what could be more imperfect than being a human and attempting parenting? you know, and you're here now, you're already a parent. You just don't have that person in your arms at the moment, or maybe you have others that are bigger, but the one that you're intent to, it's around. You're already a parent. It's just hasn't come to fruition yet, and it will. And that's an expectation you're allowed to have. I expect that as a healthy woman, human person, that if I really listen to my soul and I follow it and I give myself the compassion to get through the dips and keep listening, and I will have a baby, an amazing person, because you're here seeking, you're open, you're ready to receive, and you're allowing that realness of where your path is and the dips that happen with those expectations, because the expectations, they teach you, right? They're teaching you what's important to you, where you get let down, and where you might adjust things in order to reach some of those expectations, because they're okay. It's okay to have some of them, right? You can't live without something to expect. That's exciting. That can be exciting. Angela, it's good to accept that we're imperfect. Oh, that acceptance is so, it's an ongoing education, right? Today I realized that I feel more alive and energetic because of the sun. The sun has come here in the middle of January. I will tell you though, those dark endless rainy days, I was in my own dip and felt so imperfect. I wanted to do so much more for you. I wanted to show up for you, for myself, for my family, for my house. Uh, the holidays definitely got a little crazy because we had illness in the house for a while, and that imperfection is where you can the not accepting it is where you can get lose so much energy, right? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? So I thought of this. This so Yogi Tea. I love their little things. It's funny because I did this in my 20s. In my 20s, yeah, in my 20s, I did copywriting. I've done so many jobs inside of also still doing coaching and wellness. I love learning new things. So I had did copywriting for women who wanted to create something kind of like what they do for Yogi Tea, but for different age groups, like for elders. It was sort of fortune cookie kind of style thing. It was really fun to put that energy out there. And so, anyway, this made me think of this. Just tidbits of my reality. I love learning. Okay, so I did a tea. What did I have? I had the calming tea. I love that with the lavender honey infusion. I could make it myself, but I like that it's already, and I love these little guys, little tidbits of joy. So be kind to others, but always be compassionate to yourself. Does that sound at all familiar? How often you are oh, we just hit 22 minutes. I love that. 2022, 22. How often are you incredibly compassionate and empathetic and kind and patient and honoring of others, right? I know. I feel you. I know that you're here. I know that that when I've had an exchange with you, I know your heart, and I can almost bet that you are way more compassionate and patient with others than self. And that's normal. That's human. We can be so hard on ourselves, right? Just we're with those thousands of thoughts all the time. Whereas with someone else, you can hold a space and then step back, but you're with yourself all the time, 24/7. It's like that difference between when you were on your own completely all the time. And then you may have started a job or gotten a partnership or had a child. And that's suddenly different in how you are in the world. Anyway, those are my thoughts for today. I wanted to allow space if you had any questions. It's just my main intention of today's podcast. And sorry, we had a weird connection thing. I didn't plug in today because I thought we were fine. Uh, just taking into account, where if there's something that you want to clear, complete, or create, and how you can do it with joy. I mentioned that fact that pleasure and joy is also a key in this year. I want to talk with you and hear your thoughts. Keep that vibe going. Don't not too many things. Some things we have to do, like cleaning the toilet or but you also can hand it off, which I'm doing. You still have to do the prep work, but there you can lighten your load to make that space for this baby, for this path. It's all this work that is on the way to what your ultimate goal is. And I think next time we're going to talk a little bit about what you're creating. I think there's so many things I want to talk to you about, but we have every week, don't we? So let's see. Thank you. Oh, and thank you, Angela. Thank you for your very insightful thoughts. Well, thank you so much for being here, and Britt for being here, and you on the replay. And if any questions come up, just put them in the comments. You can see that I do answer them. And your journey is important to me. Our journey together is powerful. I'm thankful for it. And I'm looking forward to what comes next. Oh, Britt. One of the favorite things I heard was if you wouldn't say something to your best friend, don't allow it in your internal dialogue. So profound and has really helped with negative energy. Oh, yeah, I love that. if you wouldn't say it to your friend. And even just, yeah, that's, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Britt. Uh, even just having the awareness of being more compassionate so that when it comes up, it's not going to be right away that you stop having, negative thoughts or thoughts that are impacting your energy levels. Because I try to move away from negative, but it's hard to find other words, right? That these thoughts are that are negative, that are impacting, that are weighing heavy on you, that are pulling your energy away from that expansive energy that allows, fertility and pregnancy and great relationship and a beautiful feeling. Just start with the awareness. Start with that. When it pops up, you just say, okay, this is coming up. And just working on not judging it too much or reacting like, this week on the podcast, I had, I shared Kevin Thomas McCarney. It was such an interesting talk because we pre-record so far in advance. It's so nice to rehear things again. And he was talking about little brain, big brain, and it's a lot of this what you're talking about. Yes, it's an exercise. It's right, Brett. It's this instead of reacting, because we can do that. And when the more that's again coming back to the getting good sleep, having good nutrition, these things that whatever it is that allows you to feel balanced helps your emotions in those moments when those thoughts come up to be less, and but okay, just observing, allowing. Kevin in the podcast Imperfect Parenting, it's down in the description, or will be if it's not. uh, he talked about the little brain and the big brain, and the little brain is this one. So somebody makes a comment, you make a comment to yourself, and you're like, oh, there it goes again, or okay, or someone cuts you off, when you're going with your cart in the store and you react like, come on, what were you thinking about anyone else? But maybe they were in their own thought process, and big brain kind of sees that as more expansive and sees, oh, okay. So maybe there was something going on there. And instead of losing energy to the anger and the reaction, the frustration. So, and it's still going to happen because we're human beings. However, just awareness actually trains the brain. It's like in meditation or prayer. Your thoughts are coming in as you're going into that space over and over and over again. The thoughts come in. And that's part of it. It's just every time you say, okay, I see those thoughts, or I hear those thoughts, or that reaction, or that negative or frustrating thought, it's just bringing it back, bringing yourself back to center, whatever that looks like for you, or that feeling. And then it happens again. Okay, it's happening again. But every time you acknowledge instead of react, then it's retraining your brain. And it may take thousands of times for you to really find the way to less of that. It may be sleeping more, less alcohol, less or more of something. Whatever it is, I encourage you to just do one thing this week. It maybe is just that awareness we are talking about, that little exercise, or maybe it's just acknowledging, letting go, or taking in one thing this week. Just one. That's enough. Britt, yes, it's an exercise, and somebody else wrote something I don't understand why, but maybe it's another language and it's not coming through. I feel your presence. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming, for being here. I'm so honored to be on this path with you, to shed a little bit of light, my little virtual flashlight back there, to guide you to where you're meant to be inside of your own beautiful and amazing pregnancy and that birth of that little one that's waiting to come. I am looking forward to our next meeting. It'll be next week at 10 a.m. Pacific. And definitely check in the links down below in the description. We have some freebies. I'm going to put something else, something new I have an idea about in the next week. So maybe by the next one, it'll be down there. But if you haven't signed up for those, then definitely grab them and you can pop into the podcast. I'll put that in the next few minutes after we finish. All right. Have a beautifully imperfect day, and I will see you next time. Ariel.